everybody, it's Shauna. Since I got such an overwhelming response of people who were interested in finding out how I lost 100 pounds and maintained it for the last six years, I figured that I would make a video because although I wrote it all down and it was supposed to just be like a couple paragraphs with a few tips, it turned into like a huge thing. And then I'm like, how am I going to share this with everybody? And I figured everybody likes videos. They're easy to, follow usually. I mean, I'm going to try to make it easy to follow. And I will also follow my notes, so I'm not always going to be looking over here. I'm probably going to read off this, so I make sure that I don't miss anything because it's been a long process, and it's not just one thing I did. It's a whole lot of things, and they kind of all meld together. And so I just want to make sure that I don't miss a step, because I feel like every step that brought me to where I am today was really important in my process of losing the weight and keeping it off. All right, so I'm gonna start out by giving a little bit of a description about where my story started, right? Like I was obese most of my life, like morbidly obese. I was always a big girl. I got bullied in school. Like I was a very big girl. So my highest weight was when I was 22. I'm 5'5" and I weighed 255 pounds. So I was a big girl. I wore a size 18 to 20 in pants, and I am now wearing a size 9-8. So usually it's an 8, but sometimes a 9, sometimes a 7. I even have a pair of size 4s, okay? Like that's the size that I'm now wearing after being in a size 18 to 20 for the majority of my life. Okay, so I always tried everything to lose weight, but except for, trying to love myself, I never tried that. I would, eat whatever I wanted, but then I'd like spend a shit ton of money on these stupid pills and wraps and stuff that like promised me changes without even having to do anything. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're wasting your money. Like you're wasting your money, you're wasting your time, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're gonna let yourself feel like shit because you're wasting all this money on stuff, and then you think, well, I'm a failure because it doesn't work for me. Well, that's not true. You're not a failure. Whatever they're trying to sell you, they're assholes. Like they're jerks. They are, capitalizing on the fact that a lot of women, especially women, struggle with their weight and have low self-esteem due to it, and think that if they lose weight, they'll feel better about themselves, and et cetera, et cetera. So they come out with all these fancy gimmicks about how to like lose the weight without doing anything, just keep on doing whatever you're always doing. That's not the way it works, okay? It's not the way it works. It'll never work. I mean, you can continue on wasting your money on this shit. It's not gonna work, ever. You need to make some big changes. And when I say big changes, I don't mean you have to hit the gym and do whatever, like, hours of exercise every day and work yourself to a freaking bloody pulp and punish yourself for eating. That's not what you gotta do. What you gotta do is learn to love yourself and do things according to what your body is asking of you, okay? That's what you gotta do. So when I was 25, 6 years ago, I'm 31 now, I had my spiritual awakening. And before my spiritual awakening, I was eating garbage, basically. So I ate all the crappy, like, junk food all the time. Like, I'd wake up and I'd eat, like, Pop-Tarts or something crappy like that, right? Like, that's what I'd eat. And I'd eat, like, those little donuts, like, packaged donuts. Like, that's what I ate, man. That was my diet, right? And then I had my spiritual awakening, and I was like, everything is energy. And that made perfect sense to me. Like, we are energy, like they even prove that with like the microscope thing where they can see that everything is vibrating, like nothing is stagnant, which means we are all energy because everything is moving, even your desk, even your bed, like everything is constantly moving because it's energy, right? Okay, so if you think of it like that, then food is also energy. And if you think of it like that, there are high vibrations and there are low vibrations. And I can tell you that food is also in that spectrum of high and low vibrations. You can have high vibrational food that'll make you feel great, and you can have low vibrational food that'll make you feel like crap, okay? So what I did was I all of a sudden didn't want to eat anything anymore, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, what's going on? I love food. Like, why am I not wanting to eat? And it was because my body was vibrating really high because I had that spiritual awakening, and all I wanted was like, natural food. So and it's not even like natural foods, okay? I was eating tons of veggies and stuff because it was the summertime and there was a farmer's market, so I was eating lots of that. And yeah, I was eating tons of potatoes, lots of people say potatoes, you can't eat potatoes to lose weight. That's bullshit, because I ate tons of it. And nuts. Okay, so I ate so many nuts, like I can't even tell, peanuts and just nuts. Okay, I was eating tons of it. That's like super high fat, super high calorie, and I was eating tons of it. And guess what? The weight was just falling off. I didn't even need to try. Like I was walking more, That's all I did, and I did maybe 15 to 20 minutes worth of yoga every day, and it was like very mild yoga. It was just like a few stretches, really. I wasn't doing anything to break a sweat. I was doing nothing to break a sweat, and I dropped 75 pounds like that. In a couple of months, it was all gone. I barely did anything except I listened to my body, right? And I did nothing. Nothing that I did was because I didn't like myself. Everything I did was because, oh, this makes me feel good. And that is the most important thing that you can do when you're trying to lose weight, is go towards something that makes you feel good. You know, like you're never ever going to maintain anything if you're punishing yourself or restricting yourself or forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to be doing. Okay, it's not going to last. Like if you look at the women who have maintained their weight by doing vigorous exercise, guess what? It's because they like it. It's because they love it. I know quite a few women who have amazing bodies who were, you know, obese at one point, and now they exercise all the time, but that's because they enjoy it. They like the challenge, and that's not for everybody. That's not for everybody, and not everybody needs to have like a six-pack and whatever. Like some women really enjoy that kind of exercise. They love it. Myself, right, when I lost that weight, of course I got pregnant, because that's the way it works. That's always how it's worked for me. Every time I've lost weight in my life, I get pregnant. So I was like, all right, okay, so I'm pregnant now. Like, I'm going to gain weight, because to me, that's my belief. Okay, my belief is you're pregnant, you gain weight. Well, I had already joined a gym, and I stuck through it throughout my whole pregnancy. I worked out, I don't remember if it was twice or 3 times a week, but anyways, I worked out regularly, you know. And I was keeping up with all the like super thin fit women and stuff, and I felt so proud of myself. And I wasn't doing it because, oh, I don't want to get fat. No, I was doing it because, oh, I feel so great that I'm actually able to do this. My whole life I dreaded gym class, because I couldn't keep up with anybody. I couldn't do anything that anybody else was doing. I couldn't run. I couldn't jump over that thing on the mattress. Like, you know, okay, so that's one other thing that I had to do, was work through my trauma with regards to my weight and how my weight held me back in my life, right? Like I had a lot of trauma because of that, like so much trauma. And I had to actually physically let myself feel it, and I had to let myself cry about it, and I had to work through it. Okay, I had to stop like pretending that it didn't happen and, you know, ignoring it. It's something that happened to me, and yeah, the fact that I was obese my whole life was traumatizing. It was fucking traumatizing. I couldn't keep up with anybody. I couldn't do anything that any of the other kids were doing. You know, like when kids were trying to see who would like tip the teeter-totter, you know, like a whole bunch of kids would get on one side and the other, and it was like, see who can get the teeter-totter down. Well, guess who they'd ask to be on their side to get that teeter-totter down? Me, right? Like that's the reality of my life. That's what my life was as a kid. I couldn't, you know, when I'd go sliding, I'd hate it because I'd have to run up that hill, and I hated that. Like all the things that a child is supposed to enjoy, I fucking hated it. And that's why I was able to maintain my gym going during my pregnancy, because I was so proud of myself for actually being able to do these things, like stuff that I never could do before. I was like, holy shit, like I'm pregnant, I'm huge, and I'm still doing all these things that I never ever could have done before. And I'm super proud, and I'm super excited, and it made me really happy, and I enjoyed it, right? So of course, I was pregnant, so I put on 40 pounds. And you know what? 40 pounds is nothing, because I put on like 55 and 65 pounds with the 2 other pregnancies. So yeah, I think I did pretty darn good, and I did a lot of mental work for that. All right, so I already mentioned a couple of things. Now I had Freya. Okay, so I had Freya, and I had put on 40 pounds. So I was back to 215, because I hadn't quite lost 100 pounds before having her. I'd lost 75 to 80 pounds ish. Okay, so I had gone back down to back up to 215, and then I was like, okay, so this is gonna leave. Like it's not gonna be a problem at all. Like I had it in my head that this weight was gonna just fall off. And it did, because I told myself it was gonna, and I was absolutely determined. Like there was nobody that could have convinced me otherwise. I was positive that I was gonna drop that weight like no problem, right? So I purchased the 21-day fix. I didn't do the little food container things because, well, I eat mainly vegan diet. You know, sometimes I'll have some eggs, whatever. But anyways, so I did the 21-day fix exercises. I really enjoyed it. I had lots of fun. I had fun pushing myself. I think I did it twice or three times over. And then I kind of just picked and chose which videos I wanted to do. But I lost 100, okay, I lost, I think it was 90 pounds. And then I did a sugar cleanse. So that means I had, like, I cut out bread and sugar, all sugar, for a month is how long I did that for. I mean, the bread, I'd cut it out for longer though, but that was just my own personal choice. I had gone to see this nutrition person who, like, tested my blood, and she said something about bread and whatever. But again, like, it's your own personal choice. I do eat bread now, so sometimes I stop. So it's just kind of like I listen to my body, and if I feel like I should quit eating bread, then I quit eating bread. And I'm about to do another detox. It's been a long time since I've done a detox, okay? I'm about to do another one. I'm about to start it on Monday. I already purchased it. So yeah, I'm going to be doing this detox on Monday. Let you guys know how it goes. But sorry, I jumped back and forth a little bit. There's so much that that I did. Like, there's just so much that I need to cover, and it's a lot. Okay, so another thing I did was mantras and reprogramming my brain. Okay, I am a firm believer that in the law of attraction. I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction. So what you believe is what's going to come to you. Okay, and most people, when they're eating food, they're going, oh my God, gonna make me fat. It's going straight to my hips. Like, how many of these sayings do you say when you look at something and it's like, oh no, I can't eat that, it's gonna make me fat? And then, you know, you go to a party and there's a bunch of cake and stuff, and you're like, fuck, I want that cake, but I can't have it, it's gonna make me fat. And then finally you cave because you're like, fuck it, like, I'll eat it, you know? Then you're eating it in shame, feeling all this shame, like, you know, firing up all this cortisol in your body and making yourself, like, super stressed over a piece of fucking cake, you know? Like, a piece of cake. How many women do you know, and men, right, who can eat whatever the hell they want? They just eat and eat and eat all sorts of junk all the time, and they're, like, you know, this big, and you fucking hate them. Well, that's because they don't feel like shit when they're eating food, first of all, okay? They don't feel guilt. They're not stressed about it. Their cortisol isn't, like, fucking shooting signals throughout their whole body because they're eating a piece of cake, okay? I can guarantee you that much. So that's one thing that I really had to work on. That's something that I definitely worked on because, yeah, sure, I could, like, only eat things that I thought were good for me for the rest of my life. I could do that. That's probably easier in a way, but instead I decided I was going to reprogram my brain. Okay, I figured, you know, a lot of people say that potatoes and shit make you fat. I ate so many, oh yeah, at the beginning of my journey too, I ate so many chips, like potato chips. Like, it was crazy. I ate that all the time. So I ate potato chips, I ate nuts, I ate potatoes. Like, that was mostly what I ate. Okay, bunch of, like, carbs. And I just dropped a bunch of weight, and I didn't do no low fat, high carb thing. No, I was eating lots of fat too. Nuts are fatty. So anyways, where am I? Yeah, so there was a whole process of things that I did. I reprogrammed my brain and how I see food and how, you know, how I felt while I was eating that food. I worked on my, like, limiting beliefs, you know, like I said, this will go to my hips, or, you know, everybody gets fat after having kids or whatever. Those are all limiting beliefs that a lot of people believe, right? They believe that, you know, you have a kid, now you're fat. That happens to a lot of women, right? It's like a psychological thing. They were always thin, but then they believe that once they have a kid, they're going to gain weight, so then they do. Like, things like that, you know? Those are things that you need to work on, because it happens because you're projecting it. I swear to God, that's how it works, okay? I swear to God, I changed it all by doing that. And I changed it all by no longer doing things that make me feel bad. Like, I'm not going to exercise if I don't want to. At this point in my journey, I eat whatever I want, and I've maintained 100 pounds. I eat more than I did before. Like, I eat all the time, and I eat fries, and I eat chips, and I eat, like, vegan chocolate, and I eat candy, and I eat, like, so much stuff. Ice cream, like vegan ice cream, you know. I eat all sorts of stuff all the time. And sure, like I said, you know, I weigh 155 pounds now. That's what I've maintained for the past, forever. I say for the past 6 years, because really, I would have lost that weight, the whole 100, had I not gotten pregnant with Freya, and I managed to lose it all right back after. Like, to me, it counts, right? It all counts, because I did the work while I was pregnant too. It's not, I never stopped doing the work. I never just gave up. The work was constantly done for the past 6 years. And I really think that it's super important to do that work. Like, you can't just, you're never going to maintain anything if you're doing it because you hate yourself, okay? And you shouldn't be, like, I'm not, you shouldn't on anybody, or whatever that saying is, but please don't hate yourself. Like, the number one reason that the weight fell off for me is not because I was doing it to change my body. I was doing it because I loved myself and I wanted to feel better. Those were the reasons why I worked so hard mentally, to lose the weight and keep it off, because I knew that I would feel better. Like, I couldn't delude myself anymore. At a certain point when I was at my biggest, I didn't even think I was that big. Like, I'd completely tricked myself into believing that I wasn't that big. But I was always tired. So tired, okay? Like, I was so tired. I was always depressed. And I couldn't keep up with my kids, like, at all. There was no keeping up with them. I was sleeping all the time. Like, I'd always be sleeping on the couch. It was not good. I had no self-esteem. I didn't feel good about myself, and that's why I kept going for the, like, easy fixes that never worked. That's why all these companies ended up with my money, because I really, really wanted something to change. I just didn't know how. And that's why I'm telling you that the number one thing that you need to do to lose weight is to raise your vibration. And to raise your vibration is to learn to love yourself. And I know a lot of people probably think, well, I do love myself, blah, blah. No. if you're no, like, it's so much deeper than just, I don't even know how to really drive that message home, okay? So I used to think that I loved myself, but I had to do a lot of shadow work to realize that I really wasn't very self-loving. Even if you just, like, you stub your toe or something and you're like, I'm so fucking stupid. Well, that's not loving. That's not how you talk to someone you love. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not. So I had to change all those phrases that I'd say to myself. Like, it was essential. I am telling you. It might seem like a hocus pocus type of thing. And yeah, I'm a very spiritual person, but guess what? It works. Okay? It works. I've changed my whole life with this process. I've changed my entire life. I was on welfare for years and years, right? I did nothing. I did nothing. I hated myself. I never thought I would amount to anything. I was addicted to drugs. I had so many problems. And I'm not saying that they all disappeared and that everything just kind of went out the window once I followed my light or whatever. There has been definite roller coaster ride since then. But I can promise you that the reason that I am, currently a college graduate with honors, and that, I've taken my Reiki and so many spiritual courses, and that I'm currently in university, and that I've worked at, PEP and the Crisis Center and that kind of, like, the reason that I was able to accomplish all this is because I followed my light and I learned to love myself, and I raised my vibration, and I believed in myself. And yeah, those are the reasons why all these things happened for me. And to lose weight in a sustainable way that you're going to keep it off, okay, that you're actually going to be able to keep it off, you have to change everything about your life. And by that, I don't mean everything that you eat. That is definitely an option. You can grab a food journal and write down how you feel after you eat food. Then you'll realize, well, this food makes me feel like shit. Maybe I shouldn't eat it right now until I raise my vibration. You know what I mean? It's like, this food is a lower vibrational food, makes you feel like crap when you eat it. Maybe don't eat it for a while and until you raise your vibration, and then maybe you'll be able to eat it. Okay? And blessing your food. That's another excellent way to raise the vibration of your food. Okay, however silly that sounds, don't you know that, like, way back in the day, they used to, bless their food before eating it all the time. And I think that the rates of obesity were much lower. Like, I don't know, that could be part of it. I mean, I understand that they've increased the sugar content in everything nowadays too, but I truly believe that if you bless your food, then at least you're like putting all this love in your food and it's rippling out into the world, and then you're putting it in your body, and then that raises the vibration of the food and it raises your vibration, right? And that's ultimately the goal. The goal why anybody wants to lose weight is usually because they think that it'll make them feel good, isn't it? Like that's what I wanted to lose weight for. You know, I thought that it would make me feel better about myself. So yeah, so if you really really want to lose the weight, then I really suggest that you you know, start by raising your vibration, raising the vibration of what you put inside of you, or acknowledging what makes you feel good and what doesn't make you feel good and eliminating it. Start like a self-care routine, you know, just try to catch yourself when you're speaking down about yourself, because it's super easy to fall in that trap, and then you think, well, everybody does it, but it doesn't matter what everybody does, right? Does it make you feel good when you call yourself a fucking idiot for forgetting something? No. It, like, nobody feels good when they do that. So those are my tips. I'm sure I forgot a few things. I do have that like little article thing written, so if anybody wants to have like the written copy, you can ask me for it. I surprisingly didn't read off the paper, that's why I'm sure I forgot something. I feel like there's something right on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, yeah, I'm thinking of even maybe one day like making a little course on this, because you know, so many people could benefit from it. Even just like working with my coach Sidin, I ended up like dropping some more weight, like, you know, and I totally noticed too, if I'm really down and stuff, like if I feel heavy, then my legs get bigger. I swear to God, okay? Like if I'm stressed and I feel really heavy and really sad and it lasts for a couple of weeks or something, my thighs get bigger and then they get back normal once I raise my vibration again. I swear to God, okay? Pay attention to that. Just pay attention to it. When you're feeling good, do your pants feel better? Because mine do. And it might seem like a totally crazy thing, and it might just be because I attuned myself to that, but those are my tips. That's what worked for me. Swear to God, there was no gimmicks, there was nothing else. Sure, yeah, I did exercise, but again, I never did any of it for a specific reason. Nowadays, I walk. That's all I do, really. I have a little gym set up upstairs, and I've touched it once in the past, God knows how long. Like, walking is basically all I do. I haven't even been doing yoga lately. Like, I've been doing nothing. I've been walking. So, yeah, I don't think that you need to bust your butt. Find something that you enjoy doing and stick to that. Start with that. And then push yourself if you want to. And if you don't want to push yourself, then don't. Just do what your heart, you know, is asking of you, because it does have, you know, it does ask things of you, and most of the times we just ignore it because we're not attuned to ourselves. So, hope you enjoyed this long video. It's a lot longer than I ever thought it was going to be, but anyways, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and if you have any more questions or, you know, want that written copy, then just send me a message, and I'll be glad to send it to you. Bye!